Hey there everyone, I am Shovelcat and we're looking at last night's Pro Cup tournament. This is a 3v3 tournament, of course, on the US servers. The first round is going to be Gentlemen Abroad on the warm team and Stalker Enough Said on the cold team. So starting off here, looks like we have a Harbinger Engineer with a Alchemist composition on the cold team, which is very interesting choice because it kind of gives a little bit of long range potential, and we'll see how that works out on this really short range map right here. Normal guy jumping in for the end cap on the Harbinger, and Harbinger decides to nether shift out of there. He gets a barrier so that he can peel the Vanguard off. We do have the portal, no, not the portal, the healing ward did go down. And we do have normal guy. He jumps in for the meteor, and Hexme, he has his ultimate. He's deciding to use it on the Grimrock a little bit. Not all that much damage. Didn't get a kill off from there. And at the consequence, his Alchemist is a little bit low at this point. Going to try and see if they can peel off that Vanguard, but he does get off a shot in at the right time and moves back in for the ultimate. Very nice timing right there. He was able to get a kill off of that. And Warm Team does seem to finish this off with a convincing 3 surviving members on their team. That Vanguard, Graf, could have gone down very easily if Finliv had not have given him that little bit of extra recovery health in order to heal him back up again. We'll see what Cold Team's response to that is. They do seem to have a little bit of extra control on the rune. That taunt into Warax can be huge. Normal guy once again taking the offensive. Turrox the Harbinger, he does use his nether shift pretty much immediately afterwards. And normal guy staying on the offensive, getting some really good supporting healing wards to help him out. However, he is getting comboed right now. Turrox the Harbinger once again trying to do a little bit of pressure. Graf, he's jumped away so that he can use his ultimate. Does a lot of damage, about 506 to the Engineer. He does have his ultimate though, the Engineer does. And we'll see when he decides to use this. Here goes. He's combining it with the Harbinger's ultimate. Does do a little bit of damage to that Vanguard. Graf down here on the steps. It's a little bit out of position, can't be healed too well, and that does lead him to die. So it's just Finlev by himself against these 3 cold team. He decides to do the infamous Grimrock celebrate in order to apparently celebrate his first death in this game. I always find the Grimrock celebrate so hilarious. So that ties it up in a 1-1 in this first to 5 match here. See if Cold Team can keep on with this pressure here. Does get a reflect onto the Alchemist, incapping him a little bit. That doesn't do all that much in this stage of the game, but it is a little bit annoying. A collapse on the Engineer. It does take him down by about 25% health. And then also the Harbinger doing an M1 battle with normal guy. The Reaver here did take off a little bit of his health. We'll see if he can use that ultimate to his advantage. He does decide to nether shift into himself, which is a bit interesting. Meanwhile, Hexme the Engineer on the cold team, he has taken huge amounts of damage from long-range infantry of the Vanguard. And he doesn't seem to be getting all that much healing. He already used his Aegis. And we'll see how this ends up here with the Harbinger all by himself. He did try to use this EX Silence right there. EX Affliction, that is. It does put a silence on people in order to heal himself while simultaneously relieving pressure on himself. So these games end up, the ones that Warm Team wins turns kind of around the area of when Cold Team gets a little bit out of position and they're unable to support someone. Like for instance, the collapse on the Engineer did cause a little bit of breakup here. Okay, Cold Team trying to jump in a little bit and see what they can do. A little bit of a mismanagement of cooldowns there as Harbinger was nether shifted while he was buried. And we do see, oh, an ultimate from Graf hits the Engineer while he's really far away at max distance, and of course the Alchemist is held up right now. He's unable to heal as his teammates are taking quite a bit of beating. In fact, also Harden, the Alchemist, is taking beating himself as well. So once again, this is that situation I was talking about where Cold Team seems to be separated. A whiffed ult from Graf right here. He did not actually hit anything with that. And Harden could go down. Yes, he does. Double flamethrower there is really nice, but it's not really going to help any for Hexme, unfortunately. So just as we were saying, the Cold Team does seem to get a little bit separated, and that seems to be the death of them. If they could hold together a little bit better. The Warm Team actually does not have as much self-heal as the Cold Team does, so they actually do have kind of the upper hand comp-wise in terms of self-healing and survivability. So they actually can afford to be separated a little bit. However, they cannot afford to have the Alchemist take direct hits like that. And Graf is taking a huge amount of damage up here. Looks like he might go down. Last Stand probably saved his life there. He is playing a little bit passively, using the taunt in order to draw the Harbinger in. Meanwhile, Normal Guy gets a really good ult off on Turok, the Harbinger, over here, because he didn't have Nether Shift on at that point. Normal Guy, of course, backing off a little bit. And that ultimate from the Engineer was actually being reflected by Vanguard's Reflect at that exact moment. Quite a bit of damage going out on the Warm Team there. And the counter ult does hit a barrier, and it did break after that. Not sure about the viability of that necessarily. And Vanguard does go down. And we'll see if we get another Grimrock Celebrate here. Looks like he wants to run around a little bit. Maybe he could even... does he have Aegis? We could check that out very quickly. No, he does not. He has Breakstone. So I was just trying to see if he had Aegis so that he could use that in order to survive for a little bit longer. Of course, if you can get an ultimate, you can turn a 1 versus 3 or 1 versus 2 around and possibly kill one of the opponents, preferably the healer, especially if you are a healing class. That can lead to you turning a game around. We'll see. Turok's doing the good thing by zoning with his Shadow Bolt there. He could do that quite a bit more, as we've seen Harbingers do before. Used his space a little bit defensively, and there goes his Nether Shift, so he's in a big problem there. We do see a Warm Team collapse on him. Now we're seeing a little bit of a switch over to the Alchemist because he used his barrier. And meanwhile, Hexme, he was a little bit focused at that moment because of his separation from the rest of the team. And now we see the Cold Team push back into this box area here. That is honestly not too good of a position for them. You never want to be in that sort of position when you have a lot of melee and area effect DPS and such like that. However, they do manage to take out the Vanguard. And we do see that Hexme, the Engineer, he did get his ultimate. We'll see what kind of positioning he wants to do with that. Using his Bloodline Medallion first, because he knows that as soon as he uses that, he's going to get attacked. I mean, whenever he uses his ultimate, he will get attacked. So, we do see some outs being used in order to get in. Hexme does take him out with his ultimate. So now, once again, we've seen Finlev. He's got his ultimate. He could turn this around potentially. He does go for the ultimate on the Harbinger. It might have actually been aimed for the Alchemist. I don't know. It seemed a little bit sketchy there about the aim about it. We do see the Grimrock Celebrate go down with a Cold Team Meteor to finish it off. Very close games here so far. We'll see if we get a 4-4 going here and make it all come down to one round. I especially like it when things come down to that. And anyway, so nice taunts coming out from Graf. He doesn't seem to always use his taunts, but when he does, he seems to hit them. So separation from the rest of the team. Harbinger, he's used most of his outs, not necessarily. Of course, also Barrier is down. It's used on the Engineer there. And we do see Turox taking quite a bit of damage and a collapse onto the Alchemist there. He does use his Aegis. Now, Hexme over here, he is separated, so that would be a nice time to kind of focus on him. And we did see an ult with a counter ult, leading to the Alchemist dying, and no one from the Warm Time dying. Actually, now the Grimrock's down. So Turox by himself, he does have his ult up. He does have the capability of doing a little bit of self-healing and turning this around. And that, of course, taking a Vanguard ultimate to the face will typically kill most people. I'm not sure that if I myself were to take a Vanguard ultimate to my face, that I would not be standing afterwards, to be completely honest. I'm not going to say that I'm sturdy enough for that. Anyway, we'll see if the Cold team can pull this one out, and then we'll get that 4-4 that we're looking for. That taunt was missed, so we're going to see a little bit more zoning from the Cold team. They might get this rune here, which is fantastic. That space might have been in the wrong direction, I'm not sure. But we are going to see a collapse on them. On the Cold team, that is. And Hexme is still up here, and he's decided to use his ult right up in Vanguard's face. Might not have been too good of an idea to do that. Long range ultimate on the Alchemist, that is going to cause a weaken and a collapse on the Engineer here. And we could see either Graf or Hexme go down, depending on how this goes here. We do see a ultimate from the Reaver, counter, or, well, actually double ult from Vanguard does finish off Hexme, and if they can't get the counter kill on Graf, or at least keep him busy for a while, then this could be pretty bad for the Cold team. We do see a nice amount of self-healing. This is what I was talking about. The Cold team actually does have the survivability that they can have an uneven fight, but they just have to play it nicely. I do think that the positioning of Harridan is good, except for the fact that it does leave him a little bit open to Vanguard's ultimate, and then comboing it up with normal guy's ultimate as well. That led to Turox. He was not being healed all that much, and now he's in last stand. And it does go down to a War Axe, I believe, at that point. Comboing up Finlev's ultimate at that point does lead to a weaken on Harridan once again. And that is going to be good game. Gentleman Abroad does win that game. That is game number 1 from the tournament. And we're going to be going into game number 2 right here. And welcome back. This is game number 2. We have USA Got Game on the Warm team, and we have QQ Orgy here on the Cold team. Going up on the first round of this 3v3 Pro Tournament on the US servers. We see Iverson. He might be AFK or text messaging on his cell phone. We all know how cell phones can hinder your driving. Not sure how it hinders your playing Bloodline Champions. We see nice jump from Iverson. He picks up the rune. Offensive positioning from Technique, the gunner here. And then leading into a swap right there on the Rand. That does lead to this inhibitor over here. He is a little bit cut off from the rest of his team. That's going to cause him to come back to his healer at 15% health, actually, so that last stand is coming up right here at like 40 seconds into the game. And we do see a nice offensive positioning is keeping his healer from the inhibitor over here. And they're mostly just kind of DPSing down the tank and kind of keeping the rest of his team from him. And nice spell block dodge. I was waiting for that to happen, and Iverson, apparently he was as well. He dodged the spell block, and by that I mean he was waiting for the Psychopomp to use his Ethereal Scream, which is the E button, and what that will do is it will spell block the next ability that you use, and by dodging it I mean he just didn't use an ability until the effect wore off. So that is what people are talking about when they say dodging a spell block or blocking a spell block or something like that. Anyway, we do see Iverson, he did use the cloak in order to get in for a blind that was semi-effective. Another camouflage in order to get Techni up into this offensive positioning that we've been seeing. And then a blind from Iverson into retreat. They appear to be just saying, you know, we've got the rune to position, and we can keep this all day if you're just going to let us take it. And we're just going to poke at you, make sure that you don't get too confident, and push you back. Iverson, he does have his ultimate, so does Sukiyo, the Psychopomp here. And we're going to see how the inhibitor deals with that. He does get an other side, which blocks the ultimate, but he is still at really low health here. Let's see if he pulls out from this positioning. Instead, he just uses a Aegis on top of the rune shield. Ultimate comes out from the Seeker, but he whiffs it. And Unibrow, he is in a little bit of a pickle. He's already used all of his outs. Then Inhibitor does go down to pressure from the Gunner. Gunner did have his Aegis up, which caused that to happen. Ultimate from Iverson does cause the Seeker to go down, indeed. And now we're seeing Psychopomp. He's got his ultimate up. He's probably going to... Yep, there's the spell block. And once again, it was dodged because most Psychopomps, they will use their spell block just as they come out of other side. So if you see a Psychopomp go into other side and then come out, just usually don't use an ability for about a second and a half and you should be fine. It's not usually that detrimental to not use an ability for a second and a half during a game, especially not if that Psychopomp is the last person alive. And do see more zoning on the rune here. That seems to be Warm Team's MO. Techni, the Gunner, does have his M1 blocked by the spell block there. He did not manage to dodge it like we could talk about. However, he was still holding off his team from the Inhibitor, who was taking a huge amount of damage from combined efforts of Iverson and Evil Machine. Now we're seeing a little bit of a reversal of what we've been seeing this whole game. Is Warm Team's now being pushed back there. Rangled's ult is dodged by Sukiyo, but not Seeker. That was a little bit of damage on the full team there. Dodging a trench there. Iverson is dealing huge amounts of damage on that Inhibitor. And does grab the rune right there. And nice combos there. Does get other side of that Psychopomp, does escape there. And into the overkill death of the Seeker. And right here, the Cold team is separated, so not really all that much they can do at that point. Did not spell block directly out of the other side like usual. And to be honest, I can't believe this is the third round. It seems like they're all going so quickly. Warm Team is it seems to be pretty favored in the matchup here. We'll see how that goes along. And of course, if they're still texting on their phones, then that probably will cause issues in the games to come. Iverson does do a little bit of a chase. I'm pretty sure Axiom knew that he was being chased right there. Very offensive positioning there from Techni as he spaces out of it for the stun. Lots of damage going out on the Psychopomp here, as well as some positioning in order to keep the team away from him. And we're going to see Warm Team is still not taking all that much damage for how much pressure they are under from the Inhibitor and the Seeker. At the same time, huge amounts of pressure going out on the Psychopomp is keeping him from healing any. That causes the Inhibitor, he's down to about 25% health there. Unfortunately, for Iverson, he did take a meteor right there, which causes him to die. Counter kill on the Inhibitor does cause him to go down. Other side going out from Sukiyo. So this basically is just like a reset. The game is now a 2 versus 2. And of course, the Cold team does have better positioning. The rune's about to come up. It looks like Sukiyo does grab it right there. And we could see a early ultimate from the Cold team. They could even sync up their ultimates here. Instead, Sukiyo decides to use the meteor. That possibly means that they might be going more for a long game, for maybe a a sudden death game. Nice double ultimate from Unibrow. Does manage to have it kind of redundantly blocked, as Techie did actually jump and had barrier on, so that was a bit of a mismanagement. Nice damage going out on Tsukio there right as he used his ultimate. Not much he could have done to get out of that. So now we're going into a sudden death situation here. That trans was never going to get hit, unfortunately for Unibrow. And he does go down to some coordinated fire there. And if we don't see Cold Team pick up some more games, that they would have to win 5-0 from this point on in order to wrap up this game. And that honestly has been seen before. It does happen in tournament games. It's definitely not impossible to happen. Some teams, they really just need to make some decision, or some people will just make a call like focus the other guy that you're not focusing, and stuff will happen. Definitely grabbing the energy rune is a plus for the Warm team. We do have a blind off on the inhibitor and some nice fire going off on the Seeker. So far, not all that much huge damage going off. However, inhibitor over here is separated. He took a lot of damage from Ranid, and he already used his space, so there's the other side in order to block the ultimate damage from the Ranid. Tsukio does have his ultimate up. We could see it go out for damage or for heals. It looked like he was going to go for damage, but it didn't work out as he was CC'd. And now we're seeing huge amounts of damage, mostly on the inhibitor. It seems like they're focusing him as a weak point. Ultimate, double ultimate going down. That will definitely kill you. And offensive positioning from Seeker Unibrow here. He is not getting out of there anytime soon. There he goes down. Last Stand didn't really help him all that much as Seeker. And that is game number 2. Congratulations to USA Got Game for their victory. They're going on to round number 2. And we've got game number 3 coming up here right now. Here we are in game number 3. We have QE wins on 3 on Warm team here, and MC Boss on the Cold team. I always think the engineered demonic weapon looks a little bit like a vacuum cleaner. But anyway, here we go. We're starting this off. Boss Nation does decide to do the initial space. I always feel like that's always more of a defensive move than a offensive one, despite what some people may say. He decides to space almost immediately as soon as it comes off cooldown, and we do see that Warm team is pretty clumped up, but they do manage to get the medallion, not the medallion, the rune there. And Scriff, he's a little bit overextended. That does cause him to go down to 52% health, but he pops his Aegis, so that means that he should be fine for a little while. He does get the Enlarge, so he'll be doing a little bit more damage. Boss Nation, as always, seems to be up in the front whenever I've seen him. However, he seems to have taken a little bit more damage than he expected to. Zero Cool has his ultimate at the same time as Fatal. We'll see what goes from that. Dandabow did use his ultimate, not his ultimate, his other side in order to escape from that ultimate. So he was all good from that. Now, Zero Cool, he does not have anywhere near ultimate, so he might not have any type of escape route. Very nice play from Dandabow right over here, trying to resurrect. That does usually call people out in order to try and stop you, and then you can usually do a little bit of damage to them. So we did see Zero Kill. He did get his ultimate. Kudos to him. I didn't honestly predict that would have happened, and it looks like he's almost on his way to another one. However, the Cycle Pump here, he does almost have his ultimate. A Enlarge from the engineer does kind of say, hey dude, use your ultimate now. You're going to do like a lot of damage into Tractor Beam, which was pretty good. That ultimate unfortunately was whiffed by Zero Cool. We'll see how he responds to that. He does have enough for an EX, so he could potentially set something up here, but it looks like he's really just going to go for ultimate after ultimate. This is honestly quite the feat of survival for pretty much any Grimlock, I would have to say. I mean, you can say that Grimlock has survivability all you want, but you still have to think ahead in order to get it to work. You might even get, what is that, probably about 4 ultimates by now. He does get pushed into the sudden death fog there. Doesn't look like he's going to get a 5th one. I have to admit, I was kind of cheering on Zero Cool there just because I wanted to see if he could get a couple of more ultimates off. He does manage to get 122 TPS that whole time, pretty much. So we'll see what Cold Team does in response to that. They know that Zero Cool can survive on his own. He knows that Boss Nation is usually pretty aggressive player, and see how they react to that sort of thing. And we do see Cold Team is going pretty aggressive on that. However, Boss Nation, no, actually Fatal grabbed that room there. Interesting of him to be playing Metal Warden at this point. And we do see a whole bunch of damage going out on Lego Connect as he was a little bit overextended there. We did see he used his space, so Fatal tried to use his ultimate on it. Unfortunately, it was a bit out of range. And Lego seems to, he knows that he's the focus now, and he was just kind of kiting around. But unfortunately, his team was not able to do enough pressure, and that's going to cause the Spearmaster to be down to about 15% health. And now he's, of course, completely down. And Dandabo was not able to do the nice show of running around, getting ultimate after ultimate that Zero Cool was. However, he was up against 3 people, so that does make a little bit of a difference. So we do see Warm Team pulling out their first win here, tying it up 1-1. And just seeing kind of how people position themselves in the beginning. Scriff does fleet foot within the front line, so that means he needs to get out of there pretty soon. He does. However, that gives positioning over the rune to Warm Team. Fatal does pick that up. And doing a little bit of damage. Scriff is letting the engineer over here just pretty much get some ones off. Adds a enlarge on Scriff here. He does get quite a bit of damage off with that Spearmaster combo that he does. And into, he's almost got ultimate here. In fact, we almost have 2 ultimates from either team. The energy advantage, of course, going to Warm Team there. We do see a whiffed ult there from Zero Cool. However, Boss Nation, he's got his as well, and so does Scriff. We'll see how that plays out. Double ultimate, nope, never mind, from the Cold Team. And Boss Nation does space in, which causes him to be open to Scriff's ultimate. That causes him to go down. He did not have his shield, having used it already on the ultimate. That's the cool thing about ultimates is sometimes they do cause you to use your outs and you can die to something else. Zero Cool decides not to use his ultimate, instead uses it on a Breakstone in order to get out of that end cap. And Cold Team very wisely deciding to back off and heal. Just because you have the advantage in numbers does not mean that you're going to win. And we do see Zero Cool. He's got his ultimate at the same... Nope, never mind. Fatal already used his energy. We do see Zero Cool's ultimate does go out on Cycle Palm Dandabo here. It means he's a bit weakened and he's not going to be able to heal up on Scriff as he's a bit overextended. Not that matters. He had Fleet Foot, so that was good there. Another enlarge going out on Scriff here. That does seem to be their kind of standard protocol to do a lot of enlarges and, of course, some tractor beams. Just basically comboing up their tractor beams with really high damaging attacks, or just generally when you don't want somebody to run around like they did the first game or first round, and that sort of thing. Just maximizing the damage from their melee while allowing themselves to keep up pressure with that sort of tactic. Scriff does take huge amounts of damage. That pull from Thorn always seems to give a huge amount of combo potential. That does lead to Warm Team being able to grab the energy rune, and they do have the offensive potential in the beginning of the game. Seeing kind of a little bit of a cold reset from the Cold Team, of course. And now Danville has his ultimate. He could wait for Engineers, but he decides not to. Instead, doing a whole bunch of damage to the Metal Warden, which causes him to go down. So, Lego, he could use his ultimate here. It could be coming up pretty soon. Decides not to use it. Instead, he used it on a medallion. Might have been Breakstone at that point. And Boss Nation, I was going to say he's been holding on to his ult, but then he uses a meter right there. We did see a enlarge there from Lego, but he manages to get his energy back up. He does have ultimate. You can see if he waits for Danabo to get his and see if they kind of sync it up with each other. And honestly, at this point, the Cold Team possibly has the advantage given their health, their normal health advantage, which you can see up there, and also their energy advantage. We could see Boss Nation go down at some point. He's already used his space. Might have already used his shield, but of course it doesn't matter because Lego already used his EMP. There goes the shield in order to counter Lego's ultimate at that point. And that was, of course, nice timing from Boss Nation. Zero Cool could go down at this point. He does not have any recovery health whatsoever. And that was nice timing on the enlarge into ultimate from the Cold Team. We do see an ultimate ready to counter from the Warm Team. And he does decide to use it on the Engineer, which is going to cause a little bit of weaken. So they can kind of catch up on their recovery health and see if they can pull out some normal damage, as the Cold Team does have the advantage on normal health, and they will always win in this sudden death fog here. And that was an EX space from Danabo. He was trying to throw people out into the fog, but it was kind of whiffed. But they did maintain a positioning there where Warm Team was up against the fog, and they had no choice but to get hit by a meter and get knocked back into the fog. Kind of unfortunate positioning for them. And that does happen sometimes. Once again, a initial space from Boss Nation. Haven't really seen one of those since the first round. Does get quite a bit of damage off on Lego here as the Engineer. And kind of following that up with huge amounts of pressure. They just keep on pushing and pushing and pushing. That energy leash was keeping the Cycle Pump over in this area, which allowed the Spearmaster and the Engineer to take quite a bit of damage from Boss Nation and the Grimmark. We do see the potential for a triple ult from the Warm Team. There we go. That does cause the Spearmaster to go down, as the Cycle Pump was being pressured by the Metal Warden ultimate and was not able to support him. Also, Cycle Pump does go down, or having already used any kind of abilities that could have saved him from that. And Engineer with his Vacuum Cleaner weapon has gone down. Alright, and we're looking for 3 more wins from the Warm Team or 2 more from the Cold Team. Let's see if any one of the teams can make that happen. Not seeing as offensive pressuring as last round from the Warm Team. However, that swap did cause Boss Nation to take huge amounts of damage, going down to about 25% health. However, Warm Team still did manage to grab the rune, if I remember correctly. They do have the energy advantage at this point. Quite a bit of pressure going out on Danabo, but Boss Nation was thrown over here by an EX space. He does have to get out of there at some point. Ultimate to counter that pressure from Metal Warden does allow Boss Nation to take out the Cycle Pump. And we could see Warm Team pretty much evening this up into a 3-3. Then after this, we're looking for 2 more victories from either team. Kind of looking forward to seeing another one of these 4-4 games. As I said, I do like watching these close games. They come down to one round, and it's typically very tense, and it comes down to who makes that crucial mistake that will cost you the game. A couple of whiffed abilities there, doing a little bit of footsies here. And Scriff does take a huge amount of damage. Well, not huge, but it could potentially be one of those huge things that we've been looking for in one of these rounds. He does decide to go in with a Kunju. He does get a Shrink, which is going to reduce his damage a little bit, and a Weaken off on Dandebo as they're doing a little bit more damage on Scriff. They did grab the Energy Rune, which is pretty efficient and such. We do see a double ultimate from both teams, actually, causing the Engineer to go down quite a bit, and also Scriff, the Spearmaster here. Not as much damage on the Warm team, unfortunately for the Cold team. But we could see another ultimate. Yes, we do from Warm team. Spearmaster does use his Aegis to get out of there. That is very crucial. Using that Aegis to get out of ultimates does work out pretty well. However, we do see Cold team scattered quite a bit. That causes Spearmaster to go down. He was a little bit far away from his healer, so the heals took a little bit longer to get to him, so that causes bad stuff to happen to you. Anyway, last stand going out on Lego. It seemed like Boss Nation hit him just as the last stand wore off, and that is going to cause Warm Team to get their 4th win for this game. We'll see if Cold Team can even it up into 4-4 and maybe get that crucial last round we're looking for. Gonna see what Cold Team has in response to this. Also looking at Boss Nation as he seems to space out in the beginning and see how he uses that initial pressure to kind of give the Warm Team quite a bit of positioning. Does get triangled a little bit, however he seems to be doing okay about it, and yeah, does seem to come out of that in a good arrangement, a good amount of trade damage. Could see a ultimate out from the Engineer, yes we do, into 2 different shields in order to protect Fatal. Good damage mitigation from them. Singling out Dandebo here as he was a little bit separated and doing huge amounts of damage to him. He's about 25% down. Could see an ultimate coming out from Boss Nation. He's already used his other side, so there we go. Boss Nation does use his ultimate into killing Scriff. Sometimes good to switch targets when you have an ultimate out, because one person expects to be attacked and then the other person dies. So that does cause one team to lose 2 of its members pretty much simultaneously. And I hit my mic and drop it off the desk just as the game is ending. That is a little bit embarrassing. Anyway, so Warm Team wraps that up with a 5-3 victory. They're going on to round number 3. Congratulations on QE. Wins on 3 for their victory. And we're going into game number 4 right now. And game number 4, this is the last one for the first round. We have I Share My Brune Arrows on the Warm Team, and Torn Around on the Cold Team, with the amazing female glutton there. Thank you, Lucid, for that image. And we're going to be starting this off right now. Lucid doing the offensive space in order to get positioning on the rune. He does seem to be zoning it out pretty effectively. And we're going to see if Waru can actually grab it with his ninja tactics there. Seems like Altec might actually be grabbing that. Meanwhile, Lucid, he's been behind enemy lines for quite a while, been taking a little bit of damage, down to about 50% health. And Waru, he's got his ultimate, trying to line up a double. There we go. Not sure if we did have a barrier that did go out on Satnis, not sure how to pronounce that. Did not save it for Altec, and that caused him to die. Lucid down to 15% health. He's just going to give up and sit there as he burns in a fire arrow right there. So at that point, it might have come down to Lucid might have been a little bit overcommitted. He did get triangled at one point and took a lot of damage, and that could have caused some issues for their team. So getting a little bit spell block here. Lucid is quite far up again. Does decide to get the Ranid stun on Altek here. And Lucid once again taking lots of damage, but as a Glutton can do that and then get back up fine. However, he is at 15% health. Satanist might be having a little bit of trouble trying to catch up with Lucid and etc. However, that ultimate from the Ranid is blocked by the barrier. That causes a kill on Satanist as he didn't have barrier up, and a counter kill on Noxo, the Worm Team's Seeker. Lucid, he could pull this out. He's already used his Gurgons and his shield, so that's kind of most of his defensive abilities thrown out the window, and Waru just waited for the perfect opportunity to use his stun. He could, Lucid couldn't escape after that point, so he just went down. We'll see if Cold Team has a response to this. Might come down to Lucid not spacing in so much and maybe doing more of a peel tactic against this Ranid Assassin, or maybe just CCing Tipper, the Sucker Pump here, and doing peel and that sort of thing. Waru, granted, does get his ultimate pretty quickly, and he does use it on the healer most of the time. He does seem to be doing a lot of pressure to him. Noxo, Worm Team Seeker, does take quite a bit of damage from Lucid. Does pop his Gurgons there. Not really doing all that much support to Tipper. That causes him to die. And standing there in the Earthstorm does not help all that much either. Waru, he could get a triple ultimate here. We'll see if... Nope, actually just a single on the Alchemist. I'm pretty sure, yeah, Satanist did have his barrier. Unfortunately, Lucid used his Earth Shield on Satanist. I'm not sure how to pronounce that necessarily, so I'm stumbling over a bit. The thing about Earth Shield versus Barrier is Barrier does block all damage, whereas Earth Shield only blocks a little bit of it. So in that respect, if the Alchemist still had Barrier, it might have been beneficial just to let him use that. Anyway, that is the first win for Cold Team, so kudos to them. They are turning this around a little bit. However, Lucid taking a huge amount of damage, going down to about 25% health. He does use the Earthstorm to protect himself a little bit while he gets healed up, and doing a little bit of damage to the Psycho Pump there into Meteor Shard. So he's not being completely unknown to the rest of the game. However, Waru does take out Seeker. That was due to M1 pressure and just a really good amount of combos. And of course, Lucid does go down right there. Satanist just going to... Oh, nope, I thought he was going to give up and burn in the fire, but he's deciding to move around quite a little bit there at the end. So, we're seeing Worm Team wrapping up their third victory for this game. We want to see either 2 more games from the Worm Team or 4 more from the Cold Team. We'll see if Cold Team can pull this around, and they certainly could. They certainly could turn this around and get themselves a victory for this game. And we did see Waru, he swapped onto the Alchemist because he knew that he didn't have Barrier up, and then just did a little bit of damage on him. Noxo taking a meter right there. We do see Cold Team has full recovery health, whereas Worm Team does not. So they have a... Cold Team does have the pressure advantage. However, not all that much counter pressure being done on Waru over here. And that did allow him to do quite a bit of damage on Satanist. He is probably going to die to his ultimate. Nope, never mind. He did have Barrier. But this second ultimate here, that's going to finish him off. Yes, if you can't kill him with one ultimate, just kill him with 2 ultimates. So, the Colt team does start to turn this around with their second victory for this game. We'll see if they can get a straight consecutive 3 more from this game and turn it around. That was probably just due to some good counter pressure that they have been doing on the healer there. So we do see Tipper moving off to the sides here. That is some good positioning. It's hard to get to someone when they're in that area without getting yourself killed. One team does push back the Colt team using that sort of positioning and does grab the room. We do see some redundancy. I did see that Lucid used his Earth Shield on top of the barrier. That's just a little issue there. So a other side to cancel out that ultimate was used too soon, so Tipper's going to take a little bit of damage. Meanwhile, not all that much counter support for Noxo is going to cause him to be down to about 15% health. And Altec does go down to Waro, doing some nice jumping and assassin tactics there. See if Worm team can finish this up with an ultimate on the Alchemist. It was blocked in time by that barrier. However, it seems like that barrier is going to come off right as that fire arrow hits. And of course, Lucid was on far left field, and that caused him to go down to combine pressure between Tipper and Waru, the Oranid assassin. And still looking for 3 more victories from Colt team. They certainly could do that. Possibly using more defense. They do have a Seeker and a Tank, which means that they do have more in terms of the defensive tactics. For instance, when Waru jumps in like that, if they went defensive and peeled on him, they would be giving up the rune, which they're doing anyway, but they would be taking less damage. For instance, right now, Altec, he is about 15% health. I think that was a last stand and a barrier at the same time. So Satinus, he did take a little bit of pressure since he didn't have his barrier up. And of course also Waru right there, he took a little bit of damage. Nice double ult from Altec is going to cause Tipper to go down. So Worm team without their healer for now. Waru did have his Bloodline Medallion canceled. He does get a double ultimate out, and this could cause... nope, Altec did not go down. However, he does have a second ult on, so yes, if you can't kill him with 1 ult, you'll kill him with 2. And Colt team, kudos to them to their 3rd victory here. Seeing if we can get ourselves into a 4-4 situation here, or if Worm team is really just going to finish this up with a 5-3. We'll see how that goes. What I was saying before, obviously, was that Colt team does have a little bit more defense, and they could have been playing that that last round. Once again, we see a Earth Shield on top of the barrier, but Waru is not able to jump on Satinus at that point in order to punish that sort of situation. We do see a double blind going out, and Lucid, his pressure is thwarted by another side. We do see that Altec has the Granite ult on it. Oh, that was a little bit... Altec was standing a little bit close to Satinus, which meant that they both took damage from it. And of course, as Satinus was trying to heal up Altec in order to help him, Lucid did go down at that point. Nice position from Worm team in order to heal up where they cannot be shot. And then also Noxo used his EX Ice Arrow in order to keep Colt team from preventing that. So that was really good coordination there. That was nice teamwork. And we'll see if Worm team can finish this up. You do see a lot of damage going on Altec right there, and he dies to a transfer. So, congratulations to I Share My Brune Arrows. I'm not sure what that means necessarily, but it does sound kind of cool. Congratulations to them for their victory. They're going to round number 2, which we will be looking at here in a second. And now going into game number 5, this is round number 2. We have Gentlemen Abroad versus USA Got Game. And whoever wins this will be going into the grand final. So, kind of an important match is going on right here. Next, we'll be looking at the challengers for the grand finals. And, of course, we did see a offensive space from Iverson, who's deciding to play Harbinger here. He's zoning using that Shadow Bolt, which is going to allow them to grab that energy room. Maybe. Yes, Evil Machine does pick that up. He has already used his barrier, and that allows him to take a little bit of pressure. Meanwhile, Iverson was taking a little bit of damage from the Nomad. Over here, Normal Guy was managing to keep him away. So Iverson is moving a little bit back. Normal Guy moves up with his ultimate, and a little bit of a Blood Grip from Iverson was not able to save him, nor is this ultimate really going to help Evil Machine all that much. Only so much that an Alchemist can do against a Nomad, a Vanguard, and a Grimrock. Especially when you have players of this caliber up against you. So we'll see what Cult Team has in response to this. Looking for the offensive space from Iverson like he did last round. He does continue to do that into the second round. Into the zoning with his Shadow Bolt. After he's taken a Sluggish, it's not as scary because a Shadow Bolt is a little bit easier to dodge when you've been hit by Sluggish. However, Cult Team still gets to take the rune nonetheless. Graf jumping in into the Reflect, which was actually dispelled, so that means that he has to kind of stay in for a little bit longer than he wanted to. Techie, he did get his Execute reflected back to him, so that caused him to take a lot of damage. Graf's got his ult up. He's moving a little bit back. He wants to see where he can use it. He does use it on Iverson here. A actual responsive barrier is a little bit light there. Graf took a huge amount of damage from this counter ult from Iverson here. And another counter ult from Evil Machine going down on Normal Guy. He had already used his haste, so he was not able to escape from that. And Finlove does go down here while he was using his healing ward. So that is the responsive win from Cult Team. We do see that they had about 25% normal health left, so kind of a little bit of a close game, you could say, I suppose, but they did have 3 members left on their team. Once again, zoning from Iverson. He does dodge the Sluggish this time, but gets hit by a taunt. Not too big of a deal. Graf uses his Reflect, so not too much potential from him. Warm Team could end up pulling this, getting the rune, but Techie does grab it and then jump out there using the stun. So we see a little bit of damage going on Graf. He does use the Breakstone in order to dispel that Deadly Injection. I'm pretty sure it still does damage. And an EX Clarity from Evil Machine takes Graf out of the picture there. We could see an ultimate from Techie. We'll see if he decides to time this. He does go into really offensive positioning there. We see an ultimate from Evil Machine that causes some outs to be used in order to get away. However, not too much damage from the ult in response from Techie. A little bit of damage from Normal Guy as he ate a meteor, but not too much of a deal. Graf, he did have his ultimate for a little while, but decided to use an EX instead. Iverson jumping in with his ult, didn't do any damage with that, really. Normal Guy taking a Sluggish Shadow Bolt. I think he didn't know that was actually going to come. And Graf taking a little bit of damage. Silence on Normal Guy might cause him to, yeah, he backed off a bit. And Cult Team finally being able to push Warm Team back. They were in their spawn box for quite a while. Graf's got his ultimate up. He might be using it right there. There he goes. Aegis going on top of Last Stand. And also Fear on Techie is going to put him way back. Iverson, he's already used up his out, so he's not going to be able to escape from there anytime soon. He's taking the long way around. That does cause Evil Machine. He was taking a little bit of damage from the ultimate. Iverson got back right in time in order to use another shift on him. So now we're seeing the Warm Team pushing back the Cult Team once again into their spawn box. Cult Team seems to be a-okay with this, to be honest. They don't seem to be too worried about taking damage. Graf did jump, and that causes a responsive ultimate from Evil Machine. At this point, the Sudden Death Fog is coming in, so we have to start looking at normal health values. Cold Team does have the advantage in that respect, and also they lost a little bit of it with Techie going down at that point. So we do not see any ultimates yet. We could potentially see one. Oh, wow. So Graf actually accidentally kind of charged into the Sudden Death Fog. That was probably a derp moment that he had to say something in Team Chat about. But Warm Team does win nonetheless, pulling out the second victory there. These rounds kind of taking a little bit of time, which is a-okay. There's a lot on the line. And if you find tournaments to be important, that is. But they are taking their time. They are not really committing themselves into something that could be a mistake at some later point. They are taking a little bit of risk, but not necessarily making all that many mistakes. Cool Team does grab the Energy Rune, which is advantageous to them. Nether Shift had already been used on that reflected Deadly Inject, however, Barrier did cover it up. And we do see a little bit of damage going down on a normal guy. He was not caught in that meteor, thankfully for him. Graf already used his space, so a little bit of damage from Iverson's ultimate going out on him. Normal guy got pulled in, and a little bit of damage from a Shadow Bolt on him. Graf forcing the barrier by jumping in on Evil Machine causes Finlev's ultimate. I'm pretty sure that might hit the barrier. I didn't see that too closely. Normal guy does get caught in Evil Machine's ultimate. However, he gets teleported out by Grimrock's portal. A little bit of a whipped ult from Graf there a little bit a while ago. Techie could go down at this point. He is at 15% health, does pop the Aegis, but still goes down to combined pressure at the same time as Evil Machine and Iverson going down soon after. So Warm Team pulls in their third victory here in a row, or not necessarily in a row here. That is their third victory for this game. Anyway, we're going to see if Cold Team can pull this around. They are actually named Torn Around, so we'll see if they can turn this around. Yes. They do have zoning over the Energy Rune. Iverson is making sure to stand on it, so the moment that it comes out, we are going to see him grab it. Iverson does also additionally jump in. Some M1 pressure coming out from Techie. And there's his ultimate. He's going to be able to heal himself up. Normal guy going down to about 25% health from that. We'll see if Iverson jumps out. Does not. He decides to do more pressure on normal guy here. And that was a little bit of a responsive ultimate from normal guy in order to relieve pressure. It was not actually to do damage, in my opinion. And then Finlev, the Grimrock, he did take a ultimate and a Deadly Inject, which causes him to lose pretty much all of his health. He's now below 15%. And there he goes. He goes down to a Meteor. Graf was asleep that whole time, and he does take a Execute to the face. And normal guy actually does take out a counter kill on Techie. Techie probably thought that normal guy was dead because he was so low on health. But normal guy was able to actually do quite a bit of damage in a nice little combo. He did use X Strike to combo that up, and then goes down. That sleep was a little bit redundant, but can't blame Evil Machine for doing that necessarily. It is part of a very strong combo that can be done between Harbinger and Alchemist, and I'm pretty sure all of the cooldowns were available at that moment. So there we go with that. This time seeing two spaces from the Cold Team. Iverson and Techie did space up at that time. So now they're doing a little bit of zoning with the Execute and the Shadow Bolt at the same time. This gives them a lot of room over the rune. And Graf decides he jumps in with the Reflect, probably trying to grab the rune from them. Graf does actually manage to block that Shadow Bolt, will kind of reflect in time. Normal Guy does take a 602 execute. That causes his health to go way down. Teki does now have his ultimate. We'll see if he uses it. Max range on Normal Guy does cause the explosion to go off around the area where he was. Teki was taking damage, however, from the Vanguard at that point, causing him to go down quite a bit. And Finlev in a little bit of a bad position there. Graf did jump in, and now he's in an Alchemist Goo, and that is quite a bit of damage. He also had a Deadly Inject on him at that point. Finlev uses his ultimate on Iverson just as he comes out of Nether Shift, which is very nice timing there. It causes him to die, and evening this up into a 2 versus 2. Finlev possibly, nope, does not grab the energy. Normal Guy does pick that up for him. Evil Machine gets hit by an EX Voodoo, which causes his healing to actually turn into damage, but that was okay. He had Barrier up at that time. So once again, Warm Team pushing Cold Team a little bit back. Has to look out because Evil Machine does have his ultimate up. Counter ultimate from Normal Guy does take him down to a little bit of health. However, Normal Guy does get stuck up against the wall, which is kind of bad timing for that. At this point, Warm Team does have a little bit of a health advantage. They also have the energy advantage. Finlev picking up the rune, even though he had ultimate. I don't think Normal Guy picked up on the signals where he could have picked that up. Evil Machine almost getting that res off, but it was actually stopped just in time by Normal Guy's M1 attack there. Finlev still has his ultimate, decides to use it on Evil Machine. Follows that up with the Silence and a Fear into the Fog, which was a nice combo there. Evil Machine has already used his Aegis of Gurgan, so that shield is not available to him right now. Last Stand does get broken almost immediately, and Teki goes down off screen. A little bit of a fail from the quote-unquote smart camera there. And Evil Machine by himself, is he going to actually jump into the fog? No, probably not. But he does get teleported out into the fog. Nice positioning there by Finlev in order to knock his opponent out into that position there. Even if Evil Machine were able to somehow walk back into the clear area, Normal Guy probably would have used X-Strike in order to stun him and just get a little bit more damage from the fog. So we do see the same kind of zoning. We'll see if Graf does jump in just as the rune is being popped. Instead, yes, he does. Actually, he jumps directly on it. He does grab it and doesn't get punished all that much, except for that point blank Shadow Bolt did do a little bit of damage. Iverson's got the barrier on himself, which does cause him to be able to do a little bit more pressure. Normal Guy gets triangled there a little bit and is down to 15% health. Barrier does go on him. He has a ultimate and he could use it to heal himself back up, instead using his Bloodline Medallion over there. Teki kind of out of position over here, uses Aegis of Gurgans in order to kind of survive for a little bit longer. Iverson's used his ultimate and managed to heal himself up quite a bit. Normal Guy playing footsie a little bit with Teki does go down to a rocket jump that allowed Teki to get away while still doing damage. And now Finlev's by himself, not able to pull that out. So we're looking for one more game, one more round one from Warm Team, or 2 more from the Cold Team. If we do see one more Cold Team victory, we could see one of those 4-4s. I know I keep on saying it over and over again. I just, for some reason, feel the need to announce whenever there's the potential of there being a 4-4. I'm so excited to see one of those. Again, especially here in the second round while we're looking for the grand finalist. Very, very interesting to see who comes out on top at this point. Teki taking a lot of damage from kind of max range hits from Normal Guy. not seeing all that much damage coming back from the Cold Team. Graf able to jump into a shield bash and then escape with deflect. Iverson does not have another shift at this time and takes quite a bit of damage, but he does have an ultimate. And we could see a double ultimate. Actually, we do from him and the Alchemist. We do see Normal Guy go down, quite a bit of health, and a counter all comes from him. That causes Evil Machine to take quite a bit of damage. Graf using Intercept in order to push Evil Machine up into this area and closer to Normal Guy, which was very nice positioning for himself. Cold Team, they really like being back in the spawn box. That's where they feel at home. Unfortunately, Techie is now trapped up against the wall. Anything to kill him at this point, chip damage or anything. That ultimate was very nice from Graf. He does get a double kill from it. We're going to see a Hearthstone from Techie, keeping him alive for just that little bit longer, and now he's going to go to the pub and possibly get some drinks. So, congratulations to Gentlemen Abroad. They're going to the grand finals, and we're going to see who gets to go up against them in game number 2 of round number 2 right here. Welcome back. We have game number 6 with QE win on 3 on the warm team, and I share my Brune arrows on the cold team. We'll see which one of these teams goes to the grand finals in the next round. They're going to go up against Gentlemen Abroad, which we saw win the last game there. And once again, we're seeing Boss Nation with his style of being pretty offensive, spacing in once again onto the other team, trying to get some positioning there. Waru did do his typical also kind of offensive style, and that did cost him 75% of his health. Metal Warden is pretty strong against melee, so that does cause Waru the Granite to go down. Zero Cool does use his Breakstone in order to get out of that ice arrow there. We'll see what type of ultimates we do see that Boss Nation uses his Breakstone. Also, Zero Kill, he has his ultimate. You could see them focus it on one person. Fatal, he's using the Bloodline Medallion. That was pretty beneficial for the warm team to do that. We do see an ultimate go out by Noxo, but he actually ends up whipping that. Kind of unfortunate for him. And that also causes Tipper to go down on this area right over here. And that is the first win from a warm team. We'll see what the response from Cold Team is in this regard. Seemed like it came down to Waru kind of moving up and taking quite a bit of damage from a Fatal. Like I said, Metal Warden is pretty strong against melees. Regardless, Waru does decide to go on Fatal, and a Fury from Zero Pull does cause a lot of damage on the random assassin. And a pull into meter from Boss Nation does cause Noxo to take quite a bit of damage. Waru does do a ultimate, double ultimate here, and does deal quite a bit of damage on this Zero Pull. He did end up, actually he hit the Seeker with that ultimate, so that was pretty good of him. Boss Nation's got his ultimate up. We'll see where he decides to use that, or if he decides to sync it up with someone else. Other side is already used, so we'll see if he decides to counter that. We do see a double ultimate there on the random assassin, but he was able to just jump out of it. We do see Waru, he does have his ultimate up. Boss Nation's already used all of his outs. Waru does not manage to hit Boss Nation, but he does manage to kill Zero Cool. That was due to Boss Nation not having a shield, and quite a bit of damage going out on Zero Cool at that moment. He was able to stun him and cause him not to have any response to that whatsoever. And could see Tipper go down at this moment, but instead Boss Nation does go down. Fatal at that point did not have any energy, so he could not heal, and he does go down. So that is a evening up 1-1 between the teams. Cold Team does have a good response to that. This time, Waru did not go into that overextending position and take damage. We do see a immediate space from Boss Nation. As per the usual, they do have a good amount of zoning here. On the rune, it looks like Zero Cool is going to be picking that up. Really nice to have 2 tanks, because that does mean that you have 2 shields that can be placed on whoever you want to put it on. Tipper taking a lot of damage. Boss Nation following up a lot of abilities, as Thorns can do pulls into fungal spores, into etc, etc. Does get his M1 spell block at that point. We're looking for ultimates from the Worm Team. There's the one from Metal Warden, Fatal. It does cause quite a bit of damage to be done to Waru, as Tipper was on the other side at that exact moment. Noxo's illusion is actually cancelled by Fatal's EXQ, so that caused him to be stuck in the corner, and he went down shortly before Tipper goes down right after. Closing up 2 victories for the Worm Team. Looking for 3 more from them and 4 more from the team. And nice other side from Tipper, does dodge the pull from Boss Nation. Boss Nation did space into shield, which means that he needed a little bit of extra support from Fatal, the Metal Warden. However, regardless, still went down to quite a bit of damage. He's now about 25%, and Fatal also going down quite a bit. Not as much as Zero Cool, who was getting caught in a combo from Waru, who went down quite a bit, and also Boss Nation and Fatal taking damage from the Seeker Nako's ultimate at that point. Did not have the proper abilities in order to cancel that out, so that round basically went to Cold Team because of some really nice ultimates timed around the time when nobody had abilities to block that many ultimates going down at the same time. That could be because of coordination, or it could have just been some kind of blind luck, which I kind of doubt a little bit. Boss Nation once again spacing in. He gets his M1 spell block, so that might cause him to do a little bit of less pressure in the future. And we do see that Waru and Tipper don't have any recovery health at that moment. And you see the Worm Team pushing the Cold Team quite a bit. Maybe a whiffed ult from Boss Nation. Yes, that ultimate was whiffed. However, Waru still took quite a bit of damage. He does seem to be spending a lot of time near the Metal Warden, and Noxo might have been stuck in that ultimate for a little bit too long, did cause him to take some damage. Meanwhile, Zero Cool, he's trying to get his health back up, his recovery health. A good ultimate does hit Boss Nation at that time. And we do see the game's down to 2 versus 3. One team lost their Metal Warden off in that general area. Other side, in response to Boss Nation's ultimate, really after he has used his ultimate, not all that much he can do. He can space and get the rune and use it to heal himself, but a little bit too slow. There is a delay on that heal before it actually has an effect, and if you die before it heals you, it doesn't resurrect you, which is kind of unfortunate to any Thorn players out there. So that is the 3rd victory for Cold Team at this point. Boss Nation spacing in at the start once again. Does seem to space in and then use his E ability, Mushroom Spore, kind of off the bat. Cold Team gaining control over the rune. Tipper does pick that up. Nice stun from Waru on Zero Cool. Does cause him to go down to about 50% health, not 50. And Mushroom Spore is spell blocked. And Waru going once again on the Metal Warden, taking a little bit of damage from that shield. And Noxo almost getting hit by that meteor there. And we see Tipper does use his ultimate counter ult from Zero Cool on the Ranon Assassin, causes him to go down to about 15% health. Boss Nation has his ultimate up at the same time. Tipper does get double ultimate from the Meta Warden and Boss Nation at the same time. Double ultimate from Waru, not very effective as there was a shield in order to block that. We do see the Cold team in a little bit of a pickle there. Noxo does go down to Zero Cool's ultimate at that point. Waru trying to pick up the rune, but he gets pulled instead. Nice jump, he still picks it up. Does pop Gurgons, Aegis of Gurgons, in order to escape that. However, an energy leash keeps him in place, and Worm Team does finish that up. Alright, going into the 7th round here. Boss Nation does get his Mushroom Spore off, and a spell block on Tipper causes him to not have his N2 at any point now. Shield from Fatal does keep Boss Nation up on pretty much full health at this point. Once again, a M1 spell block on Boss Nation. A little bit of pressure going out from Waru here, and Noxo taking a ultimate from Grimrock Zero Cool does cause him to go down quite a bit. We do see Boss Nation does have his ultimate and could be using it here in a little bit. I think we saw an ultimate, yes we did, from Waru. It does cause Zero Cool to go down. Still holding on to that ultimate. We'll see if Boss Nation, he probably going to use it at the same time, but Tipper had an EX space in order to get out of that, so nice energy management from him, and also very nice to have a extra out besides other side. Some Psycho Pumps may not realize that they can escape from AoE ultimates in that manner. So, Cold Team, looking for one more victory from them, or two more from Worm Team to wrap up this second round. The winner of this, of course, will be going to the Grand Finals against a Gentleman Abroad. And not all that much damage going out at this point, and a stun coming off from Waru does cause Boss Nation to take a little bit. Still not all that much. Waru did take a spell block, which was about 402 damage. And a nice space into shield there does cause some pressure. Waru taking a little bit of damage from that ultimate. Tipper had other side, but decided to use that on himself. Fatal taking a little bit of damage there, but a double shield does save him, and to a breakstone, which is pretty good. And Waru getting pretty low at this point. A EX, I believe that was Fire Arrow on Fatal, causing him to go back, but Waru the Ranon does go down to that. And Noxo doing some nice position there, was able to take Zero Cool down to no recovery health. He does have an ultimate. We see if he can get a double there, but in fact only a single ultimate is blocked by the shield. Counter ult there on Noxo. Actually, he used his illusion in order to escape from that. So we have an evening up 4-4 in the semi-finals for this tournament. This next round is a win-all, kind of the most tense round out of the entire tournament at this point, given how they will be going to the grand finals. So you see Boss Nation taking the center stage once again, using his shield in order to keep himself there. We could see Cold Team take Energy Rune. Instead, Fatal, he does move up for it. Other side is spell blocked, so that is kind of good. Waro, in fact, doing quite a bit of damage to Zero Cool. However, a 1-versus-1 between Boss Nation and Noxo does cause Noxo to go down to about 25% health. Other side did get him out there. We do see two ultimates from Worm Team, and they're both going to go down on Waru, who has a counter ult on Fatal, who does actually not have anything to counter that with. Another ultimate on Fatal. He does have shield at that point. Crow did go down, unfortunately for him. Tipper a little bit out of position, kind of sandwiched between the Grimrock and the Thorn at that point. Does use an EX space in order to get Boss Nation out of that healing ward in a way. Zeratul has very little recovery health at this point. Finishing up Tipper at that point, and that is going to be a good game. Congratulations to QE wins on 3 for their victory. They're going on to the grand finals, which we will be watching right here. Welcome back. We have gentlemen on board, abroad in fact, on the Worm team, and QE wins on 3 on the Cold team. This is the grand finals. Winner of this will be the crowned winner of the tournament. This is, of course, the January 6th 3v3 Pro Cup on the US servers. We'll see who actually ends up winning on this. We do see Graf triangled a little bit. He does not have the space, but he manages to mitigate any damage anyway. Seeing who does end up taking the rune at that point. Fatal did, and Boss Nation pushed back into some bad positioning there. And do see a quick ultimate from Fatal. Does take Graf down a little bit. However, a counter ult does take Fatal down to about 25% health. Normal Guy with the follow-up ultimate does take Fatal down to about 15% health, and trying to respond with a meteor. That's not going to work. Boss Nation has his ultimate. Could see it used here. Not quick enough to save Fatal at that point. Could see another follow-up ultimate from Zeratul. No, in fact, he gets stunned by the EX Boomstorm. So that caused him not to be able to use it, and then the tick damage took him all the way back down. Boss Nation going down quickly after that. Kind of don't want to jinx it, but I have been noticing that the going trend is the Worm team winning the first round here, and then I end up saying, I wonder what the Cold team's going to have in response to that. And that is, of course, a shield in the very beginning, allows Boss Nation to get some good positioning. Doing another space does take him pretty far up here. The rune looked like it was actually grabbed by the Cold team at that point. Still, once again, a very offensive positioning allows Normal Guy to go down quite a bit. Finlev going in for the peel, but Normal Guy is really low, trying to do a little bit of counter pressure. Oh, that shield actually kept Fatal from using his ultimate, but still was able to kill Normal Guy at that point. Boss Nation does go... Actually, that was Zeratul. Sorry. That was Zeratul does go down to an ultimate from Finlev. So that is going to even this up into a 2 versus 2. 2 tanks can actually... Oh my goodness. That was a reflected ultimate. Fatal did try to use his ultimate on Graf, and it was in fact reflected back in his face. That hurts, definitely. But what I was saying was that 2 tanks can go up against a tank and a healer if they manage their heals and energy properly. That can work out perfectly fine for them. Boss Nation going down to about 25% health. He does have his ultimate, decides to use it in order to dodge that meteor. Don't know what actually caused him to take a little bit of extra damage there, and that took him down to chip damage level. Seeing 2 victories in a row from Worm team. Looking for some victories from Cold team, trying to see if this match gets a little bit more close. And once again, aggressive positioning from Cold team. They probably might end up grabbing over here and look a little bit. And it in fact does go down to Normal Guy. Finlev taking quite a bit of damage there. Does actually get leashed into a spell block, so that was causing him to go down about 50% health. And Normal Guy does have his ultimate. See if he uses it on Zeratul, which may not have been the best target for that. Counter ultimate from Zeratul does not hit anything whatsoever. Fatal going down quite a bit, and Boss Nation spacing away actually allows Graf to deal more damage. and Graf spacing out of that ultimate, but that does save Fatal's life. Seeing if Finlev can get his ultimate out in time. Actually does not. A little bit of collapse on Boss Nation causes him to go down to about 15% health. Trying to push the Cold Team into this positioning here. Warm Team does grab the energy rune location, and Cold Team trying to push out here. Zero Cool in a little bit of a bad position, gets himself stuck in a Boomstorm. Does space away though. Boss Nation looking real low. Then Zero Cool actually goes down to some combined pressure there. And that is going to be the third victory for Warm Team Gentlemen Abroad. Cleaning that up very convincingly. Not seeing too many rounds where it looks very, very close. End this game. Boss Nation once again jumping up in order to get that very offensive positioning into the Energy Leash and Spell Block. Once again spacing up again in order to get the offensive positioning onto the healer. Taking a little bit of damage, but he's got shield to respond to that. Doing some damage to Graf with a meteor at that point. Graf does not have his reflect and is a little bit forward. However, Normal Guy does remove pressure with that ultimate there. Fatal does follow that up with a ultimate of his own. Finlev counter ulting that. Fatal going down quite a bit of damage there. Does have it healed up by a healing ward at that point. Could see Zero Cool use his ultimate. Normal Guy does not have his spacer, would not be able to escape. Fatal getting really low here. Zero Cool still holding on to his ultimate. There goes down. However, there was a counter ult from Graf, which causes Fatal to go down in this area here. And another ultimate from Normal Guy does take out Boss Nation. If the smart camera can get a little bit smarter, please just get a little bit smarter. Alright, and I'm going to try and see if I can manually control this to get a better view, because we do have a little bit of running around. Remember, Zero Cool was able to get numerous ultimates off in a similar situation, I believe on the first game actually, where he was able to kite around, but that was actually just against 2 people, whereas right now he's going up against 3. I thought for a second there that I could go back to smart camera, but turned out pretty okay there. And that is going to be the 4th victory from the Warm Team. Will the Cold Team be able to turn this around? And of course they're not named Turn Around, but we'll see if they are able to turn this around anyway, or if the Warm Team will just get this into a 5-0 victory and claim that tournament crown. Boss Nation once again spacing in, and Finlev a little bit triangled there, taking a little bit of damage. Zero Cool does pick up the energy room. Normal Guy relieving pressure from himself. Fatal kind of pulled in, did take a whole lot of damage. He is down to about 15% health. Counter ult from Zero Cool is whiffed, and a follow-up ultimate from Graf on Boss Nation at that point. Another ultimate from Normal Guy does take down Zero Cool to about 15% health. Boss Nation, no recovery health, no energy at this point. Not much he can do in that situation. He needs a little bit of heals from his healer, but he's taking a Vanguard to the back. Boss Nation out now by himself against 3 people. Normal Guy using the EX space in order to catch up with Boss Nation and not let him get away. So that is going to be the 5-0 victory from Gentlemen Abroad. Congratulations to them for winning this tournament. Once again, that was the January 6th 3v3 Pro Cup on the US servers. Congratulations once again to Gentlemen Abroad. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.